Man, I'm looking forward to this trip. I really am. This is a shallow water haven.
Got him. Good one, too.
Pre-spawn, fat, pretty. Man, that sucker comes streaking out of there like crazy. Hey folks, I'm Mark Rose. Welcome to my world.
Brother, it's a long road from Amistad to Toho. Doesn't matter which way you go, the miles are all the same. When you finally get there, when you pull the cover off, then it's time to get a little bit lost out on the lake. Gonna bag this boat into the water, find a way to win a couple dollars. Weatherman says there's a cold front coming down. Bring it on, I've seen it all by now. I can catch 'em shallow, I can catch 'em deep. Open water or the back of the creek. The wind and rain to me, it's all the same. I make a living playing this game, and I thank the Lord above every time I can. I get to be a fisherman.
Hey guys, welcome to Rose Outdoors. You know, I've had fans and some of my sponsors asking, Mark, won't you let people into your world a little bit? You're kind of a soft-spoken, quiet guy. Kind of tell people what who you are. So I decided to start a show that's kind of different, mostly just real. I mean, what you see from me out on this show, it's just me. It's just me living my life and what I do around the house. I live here in Eastern Arkansas, and you guys are gonna meet my family. We're gonna talk about faith, unashamedly. You're gonna meet some of my friends, and we're just gonna have a lot of fun with this thing. It's real. We're gonna go today to one of my old stomping grounds. This is where I kind of cut my teeth fishing in Eastern Arkansas, a little lake, Horseshoe Lake. It's about a little over 2,000 acre lake in Eastern Arkansas, an old Mississippi River oxbow. And as the Mississippi River kind of turned and twisted, it kind of left it off to the side, and then they built a levee in between it and so it's on the dry side of the levee basically. And this is going to be pre-spawn bass fishing. You're going to meet a buddy of mine, Bubby. We're going to talk about our relationship, and we're going to talk a little bit about faith today. So it's going to be a two-part show. One part, it's going to be pre-spawn bass fishing. We're going to be taking a thunder cricket, and we might break out a new Strike King spinnerbait and a jig or something like that. But mostly, we're going to be chunking and winding and figuring out kind of what mood the fish are in, and there's no better bait to throw in the pre-spawn than a thunder cricket. It's a cypress tree lake, got a good bloom. It's a good, perfect watercolor for spinnerbait and thunder crickets and jigs and things like that. It's a shallow body of water, so they should be moving up. We're coming off of winter time, and it ought to be a good show. So y'all come along with me, and thanks for joining Rose Outdoors. You know, a lot of people might have thought that I was going to do a die-hard fishing show right out of the gate to bring out Rose Outdoors. And we're going to have some of those. We're going to have some great fishing shows, a lot of fish catching, instructional stuff, all that. But today's show was really me hanging out with a good friend of mine and a young man that I'm just really proud of, and talking a little bit about faith, which was kind of the underlying theme of this whole show today. I wanted to talk about that more so than fishing. I chose to go to a lake that I grew up cutting my teeth on with Bubby's daddy. Bob Pettigrew was just a great friend of mine. He was a man that taught me a lot about tournament fishing early on in high school and in early years of college. Just taught me a lot about bass fishing and tournament fishing and all that kind of stuff. Bob was just a super nice guy, and I spent a lot of time with him out on Horseshoe. Every day I got off work, I'd go and get in a boat with Bob, and Bubby was always there, barefoot, no shirt, and he would always jump in. And unfortunately, Bob died tragically when Bubby was 14 years old, and Bubby's now 32. So this is where I first met Bubby, right around in this little neighborhood right here. He'd be running around with shorts about that tall, running shorts, no shirt, no shoes, cut up. Talking about I caught an alligator and 15 sharks today. I had 2 bass weighed 12 pounds apiece. They both got off. His dad dies when he's 14, and right about that time when a young man needs a father. And so, you know, he kind of made life up as he went, as any of us would in that situation. Twists and turns and a little trouble here and there, but I never gave up on him, and he would always stay in contact with me when he needed some help and wanted to talk about faith and everything. And he never would really get there where I wanted him, you know, in his faith. And then one day he said he was ready, and I shared the gospel with him. He put his faith and trust in Christ, and again, wasn't perfect after that, but man, baby Christian turned into a more mature Christian, and like all of us, we're learning and getting closer to the Lord as we go. We'll never perfect the Christian life. We're always going to make mistakes, and hopefully we take one step farther than the last time. Man, I'm looking forward to this trip. I really am. I'm not going to get out. You know, you see a lot of guys, man, I'm super excited. I don't get super excited about much, but I am looking forward to this fishing day. I can't tell you how many times I've put in right here at this boat ramp. Went crappie fishing, bass fishing on this little old lake. This is where I grew up fishing. This is where I learned. I used to spend hours and hours, and I can't tell you how many times I've logged in out here not catching anything, just learning, just honing my bass fishing skills. Spent a lot of time with Bubby's dad out here. He was the guy that really taught me a lot early on about bass fishing, junior high school days, and he's one of the best bass fishermen I ever knew. But man, we've spent a bunch of time out here, and I don't get to fish here near as much anymore since I'm traveling and doing what I do, but it brings back a lot of memories when I do. We're gonna relive some of them today. So we talked a little bit about that today, and that's what I wanted the viewers to see. I wanted you to see a young man that admittedly, you know, shared that had a checkered past, but thanks to God, he's heaven bound now, put his faith and trust in Jesus Christ, and he has that peace that the Bible talks about goes beyond our understanding. This is a shallow water haven. It's a shallow fisherman's dream. You'd think that how in the world you know, have a lot of success offshore ledge fishing whenever you grow up fishing on a lake like this, but I can catch a fish shallow. I was so proud when I won my first Gunnersville a few years ago shallow, get that ledge thing off my back. But yeah, this is a shallow fisherman's dream right here. Rose Outdoors, it's not just another fishing show, man. It's going to be a little bit different. We're going to talk a lot about life. We're going to talk about friends. We're going to talk about the importance of having joy in your life that God can provide, and just have some fun, man. I'm not going to change my personality any. I'm not going to be this obnoxious, flamboyant guy. You're going to see me just as I am. And we're going to go to church some Sundays, and you're going to see me worshiping with my family and my friends. You're going to see me at home. You're going to see where I fish, you know, what we do and hang out and how we have fun at home. This is my lake right here. You'll probably see me crappie fishing some in this little lake. We'll do some shows here, but it's just having a good time, and It's not just all about a bunch of fish catching here. We're gonna have some shows like that, but it's more than that. So what you got is basically a hole out there. There's not a whole lot of contour on Horseshoe Lake, but it does have some depth out in the middle. And then it just kind of like a lake like Okeechobee, it just gradually comes up in here. And you got these outer trees, which a lot of times this is where they stage to get ready. They may go from right there just to inside of those trees, or they may spawn right on the back side of these same trees. So there's cypress roots and stuff that they spawn on, but there's shallower trees right behind all these outer trees. And usually they'll stage on these type areas. If it's a good, if they're aggressive today, there may be a lot of them up on these shallow trees. And you just never know. In the springtime, pre-spawn fishing in the spring, those fish could be anywhere. They could be on the outer trees or all the way up there shallow. So it's just kind of a deal. You just have to get out here and fish, and you start getting a few bites, you'll learn what they're on. But there's no need in, getting way out there in the middle or fishing a whole bunch of docks and things like that on a lake like this. Just get on these trees, these cypress trees in the springtime. If a lake has trees, you just hardly can't beat them. This and the pad stems. There's pads up here, lily pads, fields on Horseshoe, and boy, they really get in those pad stems really good this time of year, feeding on those big gizzards. A Strike King thunder cricket, I think, I want to say it's the best pre-spawn bait that you can throw. There's others, jerk bait, jig, things like that. There's other baits out there, Alabama rig if you like, but a thunder cricket is just an awful good bait to cover water, to wind, find where those fish are staging out just before they go into spawning. They may be spawning real close to where they're staging at thunder cricket, man. They just can't. It's kind of like that lipless crankbait. You combine a lipless crankbait, a red-eye shad with a Andy Montgomery skipping jig. You combine the two, that's what a thunder cricket is. It catches big fish. You can vary, you can change colors, but it's just an awful good pre-spawn bait.
Got him. Good one too.
There's a chunk on old thunder chicken. Pre-spawn, fat, pretty. Just up here cruising around this flat. This is a typical spawning area here. Everybody knows it. And get up here this time of year. Yeah, I really thought they would just be tearing it up at Horseshoe. I thought they would be chewing, man. It wasn't like that. They were still into a little winter time mode. There was a tournament there this past weekend. Just a couple limits were weighed in. They won it with 15 pounds, which is about what we probably would have had today. So the big fish just aren't up there staging, aren't up there feeding. But I thought we were really going to catch them. But that's not what this show was all about. There was more to this show than just a whole bunch of fish catching. I could have took us somewhere where we could have just smashed them, but I chose to go in a place that he was comfortable, where he would open up, we could talk about his dad, and I could just share with you the story of Faith and our friendship. This is a whole lot better place out here on the lake than you were sitting in a year and a half ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Everybody knows me and knows I've got a checkered past, and I went through hard times, but God saw me through it. I had a Jesus-sized hole in my heart I was trying to fill with everything of the world, and no matter what you do, it just doesn't make up for Jesus. So I finally, submitted and allowed Jesus in my life, and I'm a new man now.
There's a lot of powerful words in that short statement right there he just made. And just the fact that I'm just so proud of him for, you know, not being ashamed of it. And anytime anybody wants to hear it, he's not afraid to talk about God. And he's first one in church with us on Sunday morning. He don't miss I'm gone to a tournament. He's still at church every Sunday. I'm just so proud of him, man. You know, you guys, you heard me say that we met through his dad. Well, unfortunately, his dad had a tragic accident when Bubby was 14.
Yeah.
And, you know, anybody can just imagine without having that father figure in your life. Sometimes you can make some bad decisions. I'm just so proud of him for not giving up. You know, the whole time I was praying for him, trying to do anything I could. And I'm just so proud of him right now that he got a lot of peace in his life. And I got a fishing buddy out of it. There he is. What's that little sucker doing up there? You know, Midway USA is the presenting sponsor of Rose Outdoors. They've just been awful good and allowing me to be me and getting behind this Rose Outdoors show. And if you guys don't know, they're now carrying fishing gear. Check them out. I know wherever whether it's e-commerce or the brick and mortar stores that you like to go in, just give Midway USA a shot, because I think that you'll find out that they have an awful good selection. Their prices are second to none, and their shipping and speedy delivery is going to be something you're going to appreciate during tournament season when you need something real fast. So check them out, Midway USA.
Got him. Good one too.
That chunk. Put the power poles down, Bubby. There's just something about your visual eyes reading the water in the outdoors. That's a chunk. Another fat one. But so we've made an entire circle around. We get over on a little flat, and I'm thinking, okay, we've been in the wind, we've been in the stained water. Let's get over here where there's not any wind, see if it's warmer over there. And I see 2 shad. Make a cast over there and catch a fish. It just gives you the confidence to know that if there's some form of life over there, then sometimes those little bitty clues, what God gives us as outdoorsmen, can really help you in the springtime. Put them poles back down. My man. Some shad in the area. You didn't want to hold that up for the camera and
Catch another one.
all right, we're on our way. All right, my wife says that the tent people for the wedding are wanting to drill holes over by where the septic tank is, so we gotta go. We've spent the morning out here, a few hours. We caught a few fish. More importantly, we got to hang out and had to fish my old stomping grounds with my old buddy Bubby. And you know, fishing's, it's not just all about catching, y'all. We caught some fish this morning, but that wasn't really what this show was all about. I just want to encourage anybody that if you don't know the Lord, put your faith and trust in Him. It'll bring a lot of peace into your life, won't it, Bubby?
It will.
And anytime you get a chance when you're on the water to share the good news of Jesus with somebody, be sure and do it. God bless y'all.